Hello and welcome to this week's episodes of The Calling. Follow your spirit all the way in. I'm your host, Homaya. Join me in this journey of self-awareness, soul frequencies, and spiritual revelations. Let's fly. Blessings, beautiful. Today I want to dive into a topic that is super dear to my heart. And it is a topic which I feel that I would say underestimated sometimes. And this is the topic of mentorship. From some reason, I feel inclined to share that a vision. Probably you are aware of it, but let's listen to it. Part of the spiritual journey is shifting your relationship with your ego. Changing the presence of the ego within you. Clearing your ego. In some way, we can say dismantling it, not erasing it, but dismantling it from an illusionary power. What is happening when you are aware of the fact that you're an extension of divinity, the fact that God is within you, that it is not an external entity, that it is a state of consciousness, of wholeness and oneness, is that this wholeness and oneness starts to feel natural. And you can really feel that you are an extension of the divine, but you're actually an extension of all that there is, and you're actually one with all that there is. There's connection that starts to be established, versus when the ego still is dominant, then what you're experiencing is more separation. You're experiencing more control, more competition, more loneliness even. The spiritual journey is not a lonely journey. The first person that is your ally is you. You feel that which is unseen, that which is in the intangible. You feel it, you sense it, you commune with it. You feel light beings. You feel divine presence. And you also feel your people. You feel those who are around you, those who walk this path with you, those who shares life with you. And the dynamic of being separated from them or being one with them is completely changing. You don't do your spiritual path by yourself. It's a path of communion. I wouldn't say that this is a path of community. Not necessarily. There's way more communities than what we are even perceiving. Anything can be a common unity for a group of people. Also, paying taxes could be a common unity for some people. It's not the thing of, walking together in group. It's really the perception that you're both an individual, but you're also one with all that there is. And if you look at the history of, we can say, of spirituality, it is filled with rituals and ceremonies and prayers together in groups, in tribes. It is filled with monasteries and temples and schools and ministries. It is full of communion. Because there is something in the space that is being created together that empowers this feeling of unity that you feel with the divine. But it's not only you being with peers and you being with likewise people. It's also the fact that there is a teacher, that there is a mentor. I feel for myself that as potent as my spiritual awakening was, as potent as this transformation happened, this presence was within me, it is as potent as the journey that I had with my masters and my teachers. Because there are links that can only happen in that dimension. And we are being blessed by the fact that there are people who already achieved some certain level of embodiment, that their seeing is clear, that they can see you, that they can sense you, that they can see your physical body as a reflection of your emotional or mental body or your spiritual body, or that they can see your spiritual body way more than what they see your physical body. We are blessed that there is methods, techniques, methodologies. We are blessed that there are ways where we can amplify the presence of grace within us. That there are ways where we can practice and feel that we're connected, that we're plugged to the socket, that we are still streaming divinity. And it is regardless of what is your state. What I've received from my teachers and my masters is so valuable because it allows me, it supported me to go through the journey. It supported me to have some sense in a world that doesn't make sense. It supported my mental body to move from what is happening in the matrix, in the 3D density, to be present here and anchored in the Most High. I've never stopped working with a mentor or having a teacher. Although I've touched thousands of people in my life, although I've trained and initiated and traveled the world with the teachings and have sat in so many rooms, although there are so many things that are super clear, although that it could be that whomever my mentor is, it could be that there are aspects or there are things that doesn't really make sense to have support around, but I still work with mentors. I still work with teachers. And I feel that we need to clarify whether you're hesitating, how to move forward, how to show up in the best way to your relationship with your mentors and your teachers. Like, these things needs to be clear. So you will be able to receive the initiation that you're able to receive from aura to aura in a sacred field. There are layers upon layers upon layers in the density of this reality. And there are layers upon layers upon layers that brings the frequency of the heavens above. And somewhere in this dance, a presence of a teacher is valuable. Now, let's see how and what can you do with a teacher in the way that you can really enjoy and get the most out of this relationship. So I feel that the most important thing is that you understand that it might trigger you. It's going to bless you. There are going to be a lot of blessings, especially in the beginning. You're having like a spiritual father and a spiritual mother, whomever your teacher is, and they provide so much. They provide the space, they provide the sacredness, they provide the frequency, they provide the teachings, they provide the support, they can provide so much. But then you might be triggered. And you might think that it is because of your teacher or because of your mentor. But being triggered is a blessing itself. Because no one is doing it against you. There is something inside of you that is ready to be transformed. You are open enough to see something that you didn't want to open, that you didn't want to look at. The ego can still feel the risk of trusting. The ego can be terrified from trusting. An undeveloped emotional body can find trusting and surrender as a threat. Not in the moment. In the moment of surrendering, it could be that you will feel, wow, I can be really at ease now and let me play the baby and just enjoy the bliss and the high. But then at a certain point, when suddenly you might see something more, or you might not like what you see, or you might like to protect what you see, then you can react. But I want you to realize that working with a teacher and being in mentorship is for that. I would not be able to hold the space that I'm holding for my students, for their transformation. I would not be able to accelerate my growth and my channeling and my impact if I wouldn't have a place, a sacred place of full trust when my shadows can come, where I can speak about my pain, where I can speak about what is distorted for me. And that actually that brings me the strength to then show up in life. Is that I'm creating spaces and possibilities for myself to be in with someone that prays together with me for my own well-being, with their presence, with their attitude, with their wisdom, with all their journey that they went through, with their experience, with their connection. Someone cares for me and is willing to be in full presence with me in a certain moment and see through me, through my patterns, through my limitation, through my misconception, through ridiculous and irrational thought forms or behavioral systems that I'm still providing. Someone can cut through the noise. And if I'm able to do that with my master, with my mentor in a sacred space, if I'm able to do it there with a complete honesty, with radical honesty, then only more light can come. Because I'm creating space for light, and my service, my impact, my wealth, my health is increasing. Because voluntarily, I'm looking at what I don't want to see. I'm looking at the shadow with my eyes. I'm looking at darkness. And irrational as it will be, more light is just coming from it. So yeah, voluntarily I choose to keep on learning, to keep on receiving support. Voluntarily, I'm choosing to discharge what needs to be discharged and to see the light. Now, a myth about shadow is that shadow is something bad, is like a limitation that is like holding you and there's something wrong. But you know, some people's shadow, and I want you to take a deep breath and contemplate it could be you, is that you don't see your light. You don't see how powerful you are. You don't see how miraculous life is. You don't see how amazing you are. You don't sense your power, your grace, your beauty, your own light. Not being able to see that it's a shadow by itself. So yes, be in communion with a mentor who could show you how amazing you are, how powerful you are, how many things you already have done but you've never stopped to acknowledge, how many things you can still do. What are the thought forms and the limitation that you're buying that has nothing to do with it? You want to work with a mentor to be able to see that. To be able, indeed, in so many dimensions, bring light into your life. Now, many people are thinking that being with a mentor is a competition to their self-leadership. No. You choosing your mentor is an act of self-leadership. You choosing your mentor is an act of being connected to yourself because you want to choose your mentor from the right reasons, not from what you're going to get. Then the ego is choosing the mentor. Then the ego is choosing the teacher. You want to choose your mentor or your teacher from a place of resonance, from a place of intimacy, because you can see yourself in that person and you know that this person can see you. So just by itself, just choosing a mentor, look at it as an act of self-leadership because you picked up something that can support you. Now, if you show up to mentorship expecting that your mentor will have answers for you or resolve things for you, then indeed you should ask yourself, where is your self-leadership? Where is your sovereignty? But you don't come to your mentor, you don't come to your teacher to have answers, to get answers. You show up for mentorship, you show up for your communion with your master to be in connection, to be in a field that is luminous, in a field that is full of truth, in a place where there's the conditions for more of self-leadership, for more trust. The conditions are in the frequency, are in the space, are in the relationship. The space is designed for more of your light, not for less of your light. No real master is interested in your power. Take a deep breath and get that. No mentor, no teacher wants to have anything from your power. Nothing. Because any master and any teacher and any mentor knows that it is about the connection to source. It is in the presence. It is in the singularity. It is in living your uniqueness. That is the most important thing. And as a mentor, I am committed to that. I am committed to show up as my unique frequency, my unique soul blueprint, my singularity, and only that. And taking anyone's energy, power, or whatever is really going to harm that. Harm, this is the feeling. You want to anchor in your truth, in your frequency as a master, and you want to be with those who are able to do that. And understand that your ability to bear fruit from the dynamics that you have with your mentor is actually anchored on how much you are able to lead yourself in this relationship. How much you are able to lead this relationship. How much are you able to see yourself in heart to heart, eye to eye, in this journey with the one you choose to learn with. This is so important. Because when you decide to expect an answer from your mentor, from your teacher, when you decide to put your power, to give your power to your mentor, you're not benefiting because you're not you. Because you still believe in the spell that there is another way. Someone else have done it in that way, in a good way. You still believe in that. So you try to enforce a certain link. No master want to take away your self-leadership. Every master and every mentor and every teacher are looking at you. And they can work with you and give you proportionally to how much you are leading yourself. The other thing that I feel that is important to highlight is about acceleration. Now, I strongly believe that every person have their own spiritual clock. I also believe that there is no similarity between my spiritual clock and any spiritual clock around the world. My path is my path. We have no similarity in your path. There are no two spiritual clocks that are clocking the same way, that are moving the same way. That does not exist at all. So acceleration is not creating a shortcut. Acceleration is not a bypass. When you choose to work with a mentor and you're showing up in your leadership and in your power and in your own connection to source, and you're showing up like that to the relationship, and you see your master and it is, or your teacher or your mentor, and you're connected to that person to receive the download, your path is being accelerated because of your presence. Now, there's nowhere to run. You're not getting nowhere faster because of your acceleration. There's nothing going to happen faster. Acceleration means that you are going to use the word accumulate, not because it's consumption, but it's a part of integration. Your own embodiment of your own higher consciousness is getting bigger, larger, and more presence. Your embodiment is increasing. This is the acceleration. And as you embody more of who you are, as you embody more of your higher self is free. Your higher self is for sure in abundance. Your higher self is in love. Your higher self is in beauty. Your higher self is in grace, correct? So the acceleration is feeling more and more and more one with it, feeling more and more and more aligned with it. Feeling more and more and more that you are it. You are your higher self. You are your divine self. This is the acceleration. It's increasement in presence and in potency. I want to share with you how it feels when you truly show up. It feels, I'll share it like that. I needed to express and to explain sometimes, and in certain situation, how does it feel to work with me as a mentor? And the thing is like that. It's like you have a crystal in your hand, in your aura, in your heart. What a crystal is doing? Amplify the frequency. Clarify what is irrelevant and highlight, polish, bring into great lucidity what already exists in light. This is what it means to work in mentorship. I know and I feel for the people who work with me that it's like there's a crystal, a huge, massive crystal by the name of Homaya that is now active in their energy field. It's like a placenta to a baby. It's like there's a presence that can guide. That there's some to do and not to do there. Do that, don't do that, continue there, avoid that. Not because I know more, but because in the field of connectivity, the field that we're creating together, there is a potency that comes to life. And there is a certain protection, a certain filter that both clarify what needs to clarify, but also transmit more of the purest and the highest light. It's almost like you're walking and legions of angels are walking with you. this is how it feels. There's a shield that doesn't obscure or eclipse your light, but rather brighten it, empower it, and bring all the colors of it. Now, of course, there's so much more to say on mentorship. And I believe that we're going to keep on having conversations around that. There's so much more to respect and honor those who walked before us and learn from them so we can ourselves keep on serving that which exists and that which will follow. And it is about this legacy and creating this legacy. It's not about being better or worse, higher or lower. It's not about hierarchy. It's about communion. If there's anything that comes from this conversation, connection, joy, contemplation, doubt, bring it. Let's see. Bring it from a place of power, place of clarity, a place of anchored inside of you, when you are anchored inside of you and in your luminous center. Thank you for your listening for this session. I feel that it's just the beginning. It's a beautiful conversation. Thank you. Thank you for listening and being part of this great conversation. You will find all the relevant links in the show notes, as well as a link to a meditation for you to feel more connected to your spirit and aligned with your soul contract. Please, if this episode touched you, leave a review, like, and subscribe. Feel comfortable to share it with your friends, family, and colleagues, because everyone has a calling.